Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Box Office Talk. This is the show where I break down what happened at the box office, see if my predictions for the top 5 are correct, and then make predictions for next week's top 5. So let's get right on into it. Last week I predicted that number 1 would be Resident Evil, the final chapter. Number 2 would be Split. Number 3 would be Gold. Number 4 would be A Dog's Purpose. And number 5 would be Triple X, The Return of Xander Cage. And I actually got 0 out of 5 of my predictions right. Once again, it happened a couple weeks ago, and it happens again. This hasn't been a thing for a long time, and I don't know why I'm doing so poorly lately, but let's go over what happened. First of all, number 1 was once again Split, repeating its number 1 from last weekend. It made $26 million this weekend, which isn't too much of a drop from its original $40 million opening, and that adds to a domestic total of $77 million. And on the worldwide chart, it is already at $101 million. So I'm so glad that people are going out to see Split in the theaters. It is a really, really well done movie by M. Night. And M. Night, I believe this is going to make more, I think it already has made more money than The Visit already, which is spectacular. I hope Shyamalan's career doesn't take an unfortunate turn for the worst with his next film, because he's actually been doing really well for himself lately. At number 2, despite what I thought was going to happen, was A Dog's Purpose. I thought it was actually going to be a little lower due to the controversy that this film had beforehand, but it actually did pretty well, especially on the budget that is $22 million. It made $18 million this weekend, which is pretty good. I think maybe once it gets released worldwide, it'll probably make more, and it'll double its budget. I think it'll be able to double its budget domestically, but also on the worldwide chart, maybe triple, quadruple it maybe. I'm not sure, but at least this film is doing well. I have not seen it, and I haven't heard too many great things about it, but at least some people are going out to see it, I guess. Number 3 was Hidden Figures. I believe it was also number 3 last weekend too. It made $14 million this weekend, and that adds to a domestic total of $104 million. It has crossed the $100 million margin, which is fantastic for this film. I guess it getting nominated for several Oscars kind of helped that out, which is pretty good for the film. It is a very good movie, and I'm glad people are going out to see it, because it is also an important movie to see, I think. Also at number 4, we have what I thought was going to be number 1, Resident Evil, the final chapter. It made $13 million this weekend, and this is on a budget of $40 million, and a lot of people might be saying, thank goodness this movie is bombing because the series is awful, but really, the movies are only successful on the worldwide charts. The movies keep getting made because it makes a lot of money worldwide, so if you look at the worldwide chart, the number is $78 million. So it only needs $2 million until it doubles its budget, and then they'll have to reboot the Resident Evil franchise because they realize they can make money off of this. It's kind of sad, but at least if they do reboot it, which they probably will, it won't be as bad as what Paul W.S. Anderson started and concluded with this one. I've heard that the final chapter is easily the worst one, which means I can't wait to see it at some point. Number 5 was also the same as last week's number 5, La La Land. This weekend it made $12 million, and that adds to a total of $106 million. This also passed the $100 million margin. That is very spectacular, and on the worldwide chart, it is doing exceptionally well at $223 million. I am so happy that people everywhere are going out and seeing this film. It really is a movie to see, and I guess the news saying that it made 14 nominations at the Oscars maybe helped people actually wanting to go out and see it, and I'm glad, because it is a very good movie, my favorite of 2016. I'm glad it made over $200 million worldwide. At number 6, we have Triple X, Return of Xander Cage. This weekend it made $8 million, and that adds to a domestic total of $33 million, and then you have the worldwide chart where it's at $89 million, and it needs to get around $170 million to double its budget of $85 and be considered a success, and it doesn't look like it'll be getting there. Maybe it'll make more money worldwide at some point, but from the looks of it, I don't think we're going to be getting another Triple X movie anytime soon. But then again, State of the Union bombed horrifically, and we still got this movie, so who knows? Number 7, we've got Sing. This weekend it made $6 million, and that adds to a domestic total of $257 million, and on the worldwide chart it is at $463 million. It is slowly making its way to $500 million worldwide, and due to the success that Sing had, they actually recently announced a sequel to it by around 2020, I believe, Christmas 2020, which is fine, I guess. Sing was a decent movie. I wouldn't say it's one of the best animated films I've ever seen, but it was a solid film. I don't know why a sequel is necessary, but it's Illumination. They made a movie out of frickin' Minions, and they basically ripped off Toy Story and just made it about pets, and that movie's getting a sequel too, so what do you expect? Anyways, number 8 is Rogue One, a Star Wars story. This weekend it made $5 million, and that adds to a domestic total of $520 million. And on the worldwide chart, get ready for a big number, folks. It has made $1,030,049,573. That is incredible for this film. It's doing very well for itself, and even though it will be leaving the box office soon, I don't know if it's going to be this week. I think next week it'll have one last chance at the number 10 spot, because there's really only 2 movies coming out that'll push it down, but still I'm very happy that Rogue One has had its time in the spotlight for so long, because it really did deserve a lot of the money it got. It's a really good Star Wars film. And at number 9 we have Monster Trucks, a movie that kind of deserves no money, but you kind of feel bad for them since they've already reported that they'd be losing money anyways. It made $4 million, and that adds to a domestic total of $28 million, and on the worldwide chart it is at $47 million. That's like $203 million away from its doubling point of $250 million, so that's a lot of money lost because of a 4-year-old who was the son of an executive that wanted to develop this movie. That's kind of sad, but hey, at least I won't have to talk about this movie when it's out of the top 10, which it will be. Next week it's going to be gone, I bet you. And finally, number 10, Gold. I had predicted this to be number 3, and that was kind of a stupid choice on my end, I'll admit that. And it only made $3 million this weekend. As far as budget goes, I couldn't find one. Not on Box Office Mojo or Wikipedia, and there's no way it's going to stick around for me to report what its actual budget is, so I'm just going to assume that this movie's kind of a bomb. That's kind of sad, but then again, I've heard mixed things. But now it's time for the fun part, the predictions for next week's top 5. I'm going to say number 1 is Rings, number 2 is The Space Between Us, number 3 is Split, number 4 is A Dog's Purpose, and number 5 is Hidden Figures. But what are your predictions for next week's top 5? Leave them in the comments below, and if you got your predictions right for this week, you're going to get a shout out right now. Unless you didn't get it right, then I'm sorry. And as always, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe. I'm Jackson Fulcher. See you guys next time.